Hello everybody, and you are very welcome to this episode of Successful Perspectives. Successful Perspectives is when we deep dive into the topic of leadership and get to know one of the leaders in our very selective network, Boardroom by EMIR. I am delighted on this occasion to be joined by Astrid Skaugeth, who is the CEO of the She community. Astrid, it's lovely to see you. You're very welcome, and thanks for being on Successful Perspectives.
Thank you so much, Trevor. I'm happy to actually be invited to this. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Tell me about the She community, because I know you guys are one of the largest conferences in Europe focusing on diversity, inclusivity, etc. And you're a huge name in Europe, but perhaps here in the Middle East you're emerging into the region. So tell me the backstory and tell me what your aspirations here are for the Middle East.
Well, thank you, Trevor. The backstory for us is actually coming from Crayon in Dubai. It was Siad, which is the CEO of Crayon, who put us into contact with EMIR and you. And we were so happy that we joined your meeting or your quarterly meeting in October. Actually, also just briefly talked about how important diversity and inclusion is. So that is the backstory for us now moving into the Middle East, the Eastern market.
And I think everybody is going to be excited about what you want to do here. Tell me what you guys have achieved in Europe.
So what we are doing is that we are working with the social, human, and equity aspect of social sustainability. And we are doing that by offering She conferences once a year, but we're also offering a software tool where companies can measure their gender balance from the board level down to the employee level. In addition to that, they can also get tools and action plans in order to improve on this matter. So in Norway, we do have a really strong brand. Our flagship event is in April, and we are having speakers as Hillary Clinton, Justin Trudeau, and all the Norwegian state leaders, of course, with also change makers and local important voices to discuss this important topic.
Now, it sounds like you have some wonderful leaders joining your conference, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know you a little bit since our interaction together. And I can see you have amazing leadership qualities as well. Maybe you could give me a sense of the main tenets of your leadership philosophy and how you look at leadership, because you sit in a very unique position in Scandinavia in terms of your influence on this very interesting topic.
Yeah, I can do that, Trev. I think my main tenets of my leadership philosophy is encouraging authenticity. And with that, like creating an inclusive environment where individuals are seen, heard, and appreciated, with a fundamental base of trust in the skills and responsibilities for those who I work with.
And when you think about that, it's such a fascinating answer, right? Authenticity.
Mhm.
It should be something that we can all just live with authenticity. You know, the very definition of the word, it should be that we're being authentic every day when we wake up. But it's not something we're bringing to the workplace as much. Have you seen that evolve, and what's your take on that?
Yes, I have seen that because I have seen that people and persons around like both in their personal life, but also in their business lives are becoming more aware of this and the importance of bringing that into the work. And, like having worked as an executive for many years and meeting every type of person along the way in different markets, I have constantly worked on my own self-awareness. And a result of that has been that I have seen the importance of diversity and inclusion as two solutions for a positive work environment and social sustainability success. And I also think that seeing increased job satisfaction among staff is actually a better success measurement than profits, because it has been proven time and again that a more inclusive workforce where people are authentic increases profits as well.
Yeah, it's so true. You mentioned something there very important in terms of self-awareness. This is something that I hear a lot from our leaders within our network. We're all trying to be more aware. We're all trying to have more introspection and looking at ourselves. Do you sit down and reflect on your leadership philosophy? Do you have time to do that? Is that something you work on?
Yes, I actually do, but I actually should do it more often. I think that working with your self-awareness is something that you need to practice on, and you need to be a bit open-minded about it. And it helps, of course, then that you have a diverse stack of people around you, both from a personal point of view, but also in a business point of view.
Did you always consider yourself a natural leader? Is that something you had to grow into, that you had to work on from a self-development perspective?
Yes, I actually see myself as a natural leader, because I have always been someone that has trust in those around me. So when, and I think that I have always built teams on a fundamental base of trust. So in that we create a feeling of safety and dependability, which I think employees and others that I have worked with can be attracted to.
Yeah, here's an interesting question for you. Given the success you've had in your career, and you highlight obviously trust as an important value. This is coincidentally one of the values we have here at EMIR, in terms of having trust, that we obviously treat each other with respect, trust, and in terms of accountability, that we're going to get done what we said we were going to get done. What has been your experience in creating teams where there's a real focus on trust? What are some of the key success factors for making that work? Is it showing vulnerability? Is it creating the right team spirit, or what have you seen has worked?
I think to be trustworthy yourself is the first action, and this is something that you really need to engage in, and it needs to be a honest thing. This is not something that you can fake, and also putting teams together which are diverse, I think also is supporting building trust, because you need to invest that time, and when your employees sees that you're investing that time, but also putting this diverse team to get together, you will actually gain trust. And again, and you mentioned that, Trevor, the courage to be vulnerable, that is so important these days, because we can't, no one is perfect. So, let's stretch up that hand and see, I made a mistake. Today I'm feeling a bit sad, or whatever. That is also supporting the trust picture, I think.
Yeah, because the team can see that it's a safe space for them to also show their vulnerability, and not everything has to be, we're all human, we're all going to make mistakes, and it's just focus on, okay, it's fine, a mistake was made, how do we avoid it in future, and we move on, which kind of ties into this, to a certain extent, the idea of how modern leadership is evolving, right? We obviously have a responsibility from a company point of view to make sure the company lasts and is sustainable into the future. We have a responsibility to create a positive work culture. And now companies are increasingly have a responsibility to make a positive impact on society. What's your take on that, and perhaps what advice would you give to some of the CEOs in our network to how they should think about all of that? Because the goalposts for leaders over the last kind of 20 or 30 years are shifting quite a bit.
Yeah, it is more important than ever to be open-minded to this. And I see that, for example, in She, I see that creating a positive work culture is going hand in hand with creating a positive impact in society. So, our company's mission is to increase social equity, i.e., more fairness and less disparities. So when we have staff working confidently and in a positive work environment, our positive effect contributes directly to increased sustainable social developments. And I think all companies can actually apply this.
Okay, last question, Astrid. You've been very gracious with your time. Thinking over your career, you've been very successful and you sit in an influential position there in Scandinavia. What's the best career advice you've ever received?
Take it easy sometimes. You can't give 100% of yourself at all time. And if you can prioritize well, you will put efforts where they need to be.
Excellent. I love it. Is that advice that you learned the hard way in terms of did you not always do that?
Yes, for sure. I think I actually started to practice this 10 years ago because I saw that you can manage it all, you can't. So take it easy sometimes, reflect on things.
Yeah, I love that advice because often, especially for the generation entering into workforce, there's been this narrative over recent years, particularly through social media, of everything is hustle and you have to grind yourself to the ground, which isn't very healthy from a mental health perspective.
No.
And yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you. Some of the best insights and where I've matured or become just a little bit wiser, unfortunately, has come through learning it the hard way, which is often the way of life, right? I love the answers. All the answers reflected you as a very authentic leader, because that was one of your values earlier on. I noticed that. So I love that. Thank you so much for your time, Astrid. It was great to see you. We look forward to having you back here in Dubai shortly, and we look forward to helping your plans in the region. It's been a pleasure to have you on Successful Perspectives, and a big thank you.
Thank you, Trevor, and see you soon.